Have you ever wondered what it truly means to connect with the divine? We often think of prayer, meditation, acts of kindness, but deep within the pages of the Old Testament, in a book many find daunting, lies a different answer. This book is Leviticus, and it speaks of a time when connection was forged in fire, smoke, sacrifice. It details a world where the sacred and the everyday were intertwined in a series of profound and often mysterious rituals. These were not just empty ceremonies, they were the very heartbeat of a nation's relationship with its creator, a language of devotion spoken through action. For many today, the idea of animal sacrifice seems distant, even barbaric. It's a concept that feels worlds away from our modern understanding of faith and morality. We might skim these chapters, filled with detailed instructions about bulls, goats, grain, and feel a sense of disconnection. But what if we've been missing the point all along? What if these ancient laws hold a key, a hidden wisdom that is just as relevant now as it was thousands of years ago? What if the smoke that rose from those ancient altars carried a message that still echoes through the corridors of time, waiting for us to listen? Imagine standing at the foot of a holy mountain, the air thick with anticipation. The instructions you have received are precise, detailed, unchangeable. Every gesture, every element, from the type of animal to the way it is presented, is filled with meaning. This was the reality for the ancient Israelites. Their worship wasn't a casual affair. It was a deeply serious and structured engagement with the powerful presence of God. They were learning a new way to live, a new way to approach holiness, and the sacrificial system was their primary textbook. It was a tangible, physical expression of their commitment, need for forgiveness, desire for communion. In this journey, we are going to peel back the layers of history and misunderstanding that have shrouded Leviticus in obscurity. We will step into this ancient world, not as judges, but as curious explorers. We will seek to understand what these rituals meant to the people who practiced them. We will look beyond the blood, the fire, to uncover the profound spiritual principles they represent. Prepare to be surprised. The first 7 chapters of Leviticus are not just a list of archaic rules. They are a roadmap to understanding, atonement, gratitude, the awesome, humbling process of drawing near to God. Welcome back to Bible Stories and Chronicles channel. If you like to hear beautiful stories from Bible, please subscribe to the channel and like this video. This will be very meaningful to us. Thank you.
Before we can understand the lessons of Leviticus, we must first set the scene. The Israelites have just escaped centuries of slavery in Egypt. They have witnessed incredible miracles, a sea split in two, received the 10 Commandments directly from God amidst thunder and lightning on Mount Sinai. Now, they are camped in the wilderness, a fledgling nation learning what it means to be a people set apart. God is not a distant deity in a far-off heaven. His presence is dwelling right there among them, in a special tent called the Tabernacle. This proximity is both a great honor and a great danger. How can an imperfect people live in the presence of a perfectly holy God? This is the central question that the sacrificial system, outlined in Leviticus chapters 1 through 7, seeks to answer. It is a divine protocol, a sacred bridge designed to allow humanity and divinity to meet. The offerings were not a way for people to earn salvation or bribe God. Instead, they were a gracious provision from God Himself. They were a way to deal with the sin that separates, to express thankfulness for blessings, to simply enjoy fellowship with the giver of life. Each type of offering served a unique purpose, like different words in a complex and beautiful conversation between the people and their Lord. We will explore 5 major types of offerings described in these initial chapters. Burnt offering, an entire animal consumed by fire, symbolizing total surrender and dedication to God. Grain offering, a gift from the harvest, representing gratitude and recognition that all good things come from Him. Peace offering, a communal meal shared by the worshiper, the priest, and God, a beautiful picture of harmony and fellowship. But the system also acknowledged a darker reality, human fallibility, sin offering, guilt offering. These powerful rituals provided a concrete way for people to find forgiveness and make restitution when they failed, whether intentionally or unintentionally. They teach us about God's justice but also about His incredible mercy. As we journey through these ancient rites, from the whole burnt offering to the specific rules for the priests, we uncover a surprisingly sophisticated and deeply theological system. What these sacrifices really teach us is about the very nature of God and what it takes for us to approach Him. You won't believe what you discover. Our journey into the heart of Leviticus begins with the very first offering, the burnt offering. In Hebrew, this is called the Olah, which means that which ascends. It was an offering that went up, rising in smoke from the altar as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. Unlike other sacrifices where parts were eaten by priests or by worshippers, the burnt offering was unique. The entire animal, except for its skin, was completely consumed by fire. It represented total and absolute surrender to God, holding nothing back. Imagine an Israelite man, feeling a deep call to dedicate himself entirely to God. He wouldn't just say a prayer, he would act. He would choose an animal from his own possessions, something valuable to him. He would choose a perfect, unblemished male animal. The offering wasn't an impersonal duty. The worshipper was intimately involved from the start. He would bring his chosen animal to the entrance of the tabernacle, into the courtyard where God's presence dwelled, a personal appointment with the divine. The next instruction, the most powerful and personal, lay his hand upon the animal's head. Not a casual pat, a solemn act of identification. In that moment the animal became his substitute. This animal represents me. Its devotion on the altar pictures his desire to be devoted to God. This transference was central. The animal took his place in the portrayal of dedication and atonement. The purpose was clear, accepted on his behalf to make atonement. Other offerings dealt with specific sins, but the burnt offering was about relationship with God. A voluntary act that re-established the covenant. A visual sermon in fire and smoke, declaring the desire to be right with God and to live a life that was fully pleasing to Him. The foundation for all other worship, the starting point of complete and utter surrender. The instructions for the burnt offering were incredibly specific, demonstrating the seriousness of approaching a holy God. If the offering was from the herd, it had to be a male bull without any defect. Perfection was required because the offering was for a perfect God. The worshipper would not just bring any animal, he would bring his best. This taught the people that worship requires giving God the honor He is due, not just offering our leftovers, or what is convenient. The worshipper himself would then slaughter the bull before the Lord, a stark and sobering reminder of the cost of sin and the gravity of life and death. After the animal was killed, the priests, Aaron's sons, would take over. They were to take the blood and splash it against the sides of the great bronze altar. The blood, representing the life of the animal, was the essential element of atonement. Its application to the altar signified that a life had been given, covering the sins of the worshipper and making it possible for him to be accepted by God. This division of labor between the worshipper and the priest was important. The worshipper made the personal sacrifice, the priest acted as the mediator, applying the atonement. Following the application of the blood, the worshipper's work was still not done. He was then to skin the animal and cut it into pieces. The priests would then meticulously arrange the wood on the altar fire and place the pieces of the animal on top of the burning wood. The head, the fat, everything, other parts. Even the internal organs and the legs were to be washed with water before being placed on the altar. This washing symbolized the need for inner purity. It wasn't just an external show, the offering had to be clean, inside and out, representing the worshipper's desire for a complete and thorough cleansing and consecration. The process for an offering from the flock was very similar. Sheep, goat. It also had to be a male without defect. It was killed on the north side of the altar, highlighting the orderliness of God's sanctuary. The priest would again splash the blood against the altar, and the entire animal would be cut into pieces and arranged on the fire. These detailed, repetitive instructions reinforced a crucial lesson for the Israelites. Approaching God was not a chaotic or haphazard affair. It had to be done His way, according to His holy standard, with care, reverence, and a deep understanding of each symbolic step.
The law of the burnt offering reveals something beautiful about God's character. His concern for inclusivity. He did not reserve the privilege of worship for only the wealthy. The law made specific provisions for those who could not afford a bull or a sheep. If a person's means were limited, they could bring a bird as their burnt offering. The acceptable birds were turtle doves or young pigeons. This ensured that every single Israelite, regardless of their economic status, had a way to express their devotion and experience the grace of atonement. Worship was not dependent on wealth, but on the posture of the heart. The ritual for the bird offering was, by necessity, a little different. The priest, not the worshiper, would handle the entire process. He would bring the bird to the altar and wring off its head. Its blood would then be drained out on the side of the altar. This was a miniature version of the larger sacrifices, but it held the exact same theological weight. The life of the bird, represented by its blood, was given in substitution, just as the life of the bull was. The size of the offering did not diminish its significance in the eyes of God. He looked at the worshipper's heart of surrender, not the market value of their gift. After the blood was drained, the priest would remove the bird's crop and its feathers, throwing them on the ash heap beside the altar. He would then tear the bird open by its wings, without completely severing it in two. This action exposed the inner parts of the bird, symbolizing a complete and open offering before God. There was nothing hidden. The priest would then lay the bird on the burning wood of the altar to be consumed entirely. It too would become a food offering, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. The same divine acceptance was granted to the humble bird as was granted to the mighty bull. This provision is a powerful lesson for us today. It demonstrates that God is not interested in the grandness of our gestures, but in the sincerity of our worship. He doesn't measure our devotion by how much we can give, but by the fact that we give from what we have. Whether the offering was a bull from a rich man or a pigeon from a poor widow, the core principle was the same, a voluntary act of total dedication. Chapter 1 of Leviticus establishes from the very beginning that the path to God is open to all who come in faith and surrender, offering the best of what they have, no matter how small it may seem. We will continue with another beautiful story from Bible in our next video. If you have not, please subscribe to this channel to help us to grow these contents to wider audience. Thanks for watching.